Safe Cons Part 2, and a Lower Decks giveaway. Trekland Tuesdays live with me, Dr. Trek, right here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47 for some clarity, sanity, and the big picture in all things Star Trek. We're going to have a double giveaway later on. Isn't this amazing? We've DVD, Blu-ray. It's been 2 decades, right? For tape. I don't remember feeling this giddy, silly about a season release, especially even since we've been in the era. This is a Blu-ray. CBS got a hold of me, contact there, said, you've been showing the steel box in your artwork. So just as a caveat, this is the Blu-ray edition. See, it's blue. It's not a steel box, okay? It is amazing. I did a live unboxing. Some of you may have been there. There's almost 2 hours of bonus features. Of course, it's animation. They've just got to throw it in there, right? No, it's 2 hours of bonus features almost for 10 episodes, half-hour piece, 5 hours. When was the last time, I said this last night, when was the last time you saw a Blu-ray set for a season of television where the bonus features were almost half of the entire length of the episodes? Love those short seasons. Anyway, we're going to get to this later, but hey, I promised last week, if you were with me last week, and I hope you were, and if you were not, hello, first-timer Tuesdayer. I'm going to get to the chat in a moment. I'm going to get on this soapbox first, and then I'll check chat, and we'll also, yes, we will still do the Parrot Analytics. First off, a quick shout out to all of our Patreons that are helping us bring this to you, our TTL Club and our live wires. I ran a poll on my Twitter and my Instagram for about 24 hours with the basic question: when will you feel safe going back to a live con? And then that was Tuesday. By Thursday here in the States, our CDC came up with this amazing and kind of caught off guard advice, guidance, because we don't have laws. Nobody's being arrested for not wearing a mask. They ought to be thrown in the loony bin. But okay, it's always guidance about no need, if you are vaccinated, no need to wear a mask outside and even indoors unless you are wall-to-wall people, which was kind of a shock. It's almost like we've done a 360. But that's on top of people who never wore masks, who still refuse to wear a mask. And it's assuming that the percentage of the country here in the States that isn't vaccinated is wearing a mask, which really isn't too true in many cases. Now, there are a lot of people that want to get vaccinated and they've got medical and health reasons why it's not. There's a lot of debate going on about pregnant women getting the shots. I'm not here to talk about the medic. I leave that to the news guys and gals and, the Faucis of the world to talk about all that. But just as it filters down to mainstream us and especially our fandom and our live events, I see people popping up in threads also in families, and the kids under 12 can't get vaccinated, and that's a thing. And it's hard to have the kids wear a mask and the older kids don't have to. It is all very confusing, but it brings me back down to this first question and the way I sampled everybody. When will you feel, especially now that we've had a sea change kind of in attitude maybe, with that news last week, and the news and also the questions that have arisen from it. When will you feel safe, comfortable about going back to a big con again? And last week I had asked that question on Twitter and Facebook, and even in my Facebook thread, there's no neat way to do a neat poll. Now I did one on Twitter. The last 24 hours, I did one in my news, a follow-up, a post-CDC unmasking guidance. I had one in my news and this poll. And if you're not on my newsletter, why not? LarryNemecek.com. Go get it. You can get a sample clip from our amazing interview a couple years ago with Bob Butler, who was the director of The Cage. Still with us. It's amazing. I'm about to sneeze. Hello, live. It's the magic of live. This week, the last 48 hours, I asked that question again in my newsletter. Plus a freshman on Twitter, plus one on Instagram. And of course, Instagram in fandom, unless you're in cosplay, Instagram in Trek fandom is kind of the weak sister of all of those, or the weak brother. I don't want to be just taking the Twitter case a week ago, and Twitter only gives you 4 options. So what I had a week ago was, when do you feel comfortable going to a large con again? Now, in June, July, in August, September, or in October, November? I tweaked that a little bit. I tweaked the Twitter. The majority, 55% on Twitter a week ago, was October, November, late in the year, of these four options. The next was August, September at 30%. 10% said now, and 6% said June, July. The feedback I got everywhere else was a lot of people don't feel comfortable until next year. And factor into this, a lot of Treklanders that I get to, we have on here live. We've got global fans all over the place. The situation in Asia, in India, and in Japan, and other places. In Europe, yes, Latin America, Africa. It's very dicey. And a lot of folks are saying, hey, some of it's not their fault. They can't even get vaccines. We're in such a different place all over the world. And that factors in. So when people are responding to my polls, thanks to the interwebs, that's a factor too. This week, the last 24 hours Twitter, which does not have as big a sample return, but it's still pretty good. It's a snap poll. I added that. I added the idea of now, June, July, August, because there's only 4 slots, September, October, November, and not until 2023. It's slightly apples to oranges here, but last week, it was clearly backloaded to October, November, or the latest option I gave, and then came forward on Twitter. This week, the Twitter count was still backloaded, but it's a split. And I rejiggered answers, so you can't follow direct correlation. But I've got September, October, November, 37%, and 2023, 38%. So that was basically like the vast majority of people were saying either next year or at the very least the end of this year. Now, June, July, August, a lot of the summer cons are gone, but notably Vegas is trying to still happen in August. I know Salt Lake City is in September. There are other cons. June, July, August, though, would be Vegas. That's 18%. And right now, 7.5%. Which is a little below the now of last week. So what does that mean for numbers and timing and all of that? I don't know. Statistical error, 3%. This is not scientific, but we can say that and sound fancy. But if it was scientific, that would be kind of a margin of error, 3%-ish. The June, July with August combined, I rejiggered things, went up a little bit. Well, that was Twitter, but it's surely shows a trend toward later on. Not happy now. I did an overnight on Instagram. A lot of people's eyeballs are on my Instagram because of the giveaway, hopefully. Again, it's still small. Trek Instagram is still small-ish, but still, percentage-wise, it's the same thing. I had more of an even break on Instagram, and say what that will about the demos and the age range and the generations. But there, the majority was still not till 2023, 31%, roughly. 22%, I said by October. And you had 4 slots on Instagram, too. It diminishes. 31% for 2023, 28% for October, 23% by August, 18% right now. So the breakdown on my Instagrammers, maybe it's the cosplay fans, I don't know. They're ready to go right now and double the number, double the percent anyway. I did ask my newsletter audience, the Treklanders on my list. So this is about a 24-hour poll. This one with the newsletter, I was able to have a complete breakdown. So sorry if we're trying to correlate all of these. Maybe we can combine here. But I offered the same thing only each month. Starting with right now, all the months with an unsure, it depends, and with a next year. The largest clump by far here, when I offered it, was not sure, it depends. The next bigger clump, though, was right now at 20%. So a fifth we're saying right now on my newsletter. And my newsletter, I'm going to say, is skewing to older fans. We'll see. Hopefully that will keep evolving as we do more with Lower Decks and all the new stuff. And the new stuff, the Kurtzman era becomes more acceptable to people. 31% for unsure, 20% for right now, followed by August, almost 17%. And then next year here, 15%. So it's a little muddied, and it doesn't help the fact that I'm offering the breakdowns of the options in different amounts. But one thing that's a trend here is there's a big chunk of fandom that's not sure. It's very much in flux. You can say that. It's not that they're doofuses. It's like they just don't feel comfortable making a decision. And things keep changing, as they changed last week. And how does that skew our comfort zone? We have to look around and see results. Will we see a winter resurge because of any of this activity, or have we really turned the corner? And what is the global impact on the states? What's the global impact on anybody in the states trying to have something like Trek Vegas and losing a fourth of the audience right off the bat because they can't travel or won't travel, or it's with the isolations coming and going that it's too much of a hassle to travel globally, even if they can? We'll see. With about a fifth of people saying, right now, I'm ready to do it. Right now, go, go, go. That's kind of consistent. And then people increasingly saying, well, later in the year. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. As I said last week, I'm going to be at Vegas as it stands now. I think Vegas is going to be very diminished. Apparently, as of right now, most of the talent, most of the actors, at least, are going. And yes, a lot of them are retired. I mean, the current actors as well as our favorites from earlier years, which means those folks are in their 60s and 70s and even 80s. And we'll see. I believe Nichelle Nichols was just added to the Vegas lineup. And if you missed this sidebar with the sad situation with the fighting over Nichelle's custody and her money between her agent and initially her son, and then even third parties getting involved for activism about protecting the elderly and trying to negate both of those parties. But since then, her family is her sisters come in and join the effort. There's now a GoFundMe, sadly, for Nichelle's legal expenses because they're all alleging, and this has been in court. There have been court hearings. Right now, her custody is with the family, which is why I was a little surprised, but maybe not, to see. I mean, yay, her health is good. But it's sad that this legal battle is still going on at her advanced age. People love to see her. She melts your heart, but you know what the situation is. So the fact they're trying to get her to Vegas is an interesting wrinkle, but she is not being handled or being financed, oversight by her old manager. It's now the family. And that's where the courts have gone, and that's apparently where the world has settled. And they are doing a GoFundMe for her living expenses and legal bills because this is probably taking a toll. And they're saying that a lot of her income over the years went the other direction. So not to make this a sidebar issue, but wow. Don't ever let anybody say there's no Trek news this week. Although the cool bit here was a Lower Decks. This Lower Decks DVD. I can't praise this high enough. I just opened mine last night on a boxing video. But there's already a deleted scene from space.com. The deleted Animaniacs. Yeah, that's Warner Brothers crossing the streams for real there. There's an animatic, which is a temp animation rough. It's like box figures, right? But it's animated with a voice track. And there's a deleted scene with Boimler, with Bradward. So that's fun, but there's all kinds of stuff in this. There's also extended scenes that were deleted in animatics, but lots of behind the scenes things. What do you think? What do you think about this? Has the news the last week shifted? But let's give away one of these first, okay? I have a random picker. I said last time I was going to put this on my pad so I could show you, but I'm always terrified of that happening. So here we go. And I let somebody come in that just missed the noon Pacific deadline, and I let you in. And I won't say who it is. But here we go. You ready for this? I wish you could see this. It's just a name list. It's not like I'm spinning a wheel. But I'm going to hit the random name green button, and we'll see who wins. So good luck to everybody. Here we go. 1, 2. Can't count down in Klingon. I always mean to do that. 1, 2, 3. So many names flashing by. And who did... Oh, wow. You're going to say Jake Black? How about that? Is our first winner. next time we have a drawing, pay attention. Get on all my things, all my channels, and jump in the next drawing. I may be doing a third one for a very soon, so pay attention. But hey, I want to give a shout out to the TTL clubbers here on my Patreon: Blaze K, Robin Wilson, Lawrence Todd, Anne Marie Siegel, Blake Arledge, Justin Porteous, and Nathaniel Robinson. A lot of whom were in the drawing today, too. The TTL clubbers and our live wires, right? Rusty Harrell, Halbjorn Gunn Johnson, Jalen Bullock, Gary Williams, Jared Cooper, Mr. Vestek, Robert McLean, and Casey Shafsky. Thanks, guys. What they're doing is helping support everything I do here on the multi-stream end of things at Trekland Tuesdays Live. Yes, indeed. By Patreon, you can support all kinds of creators there, either one-off projects or by subscription. I have a simple 5 and 10 because I do so much other, but I appreciate the help. The $5 get a shout out every month, every week, and the $10 monthly support is that plus access to really early, the first couple of years, 2-3 years of our Portal 47 guest telebriefings. Those are like an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours with folks that you don't know in many cases, but you ought to know. And thanks to Portal 47, you do now. All the Star Trek you had no idea about. For right now, I just want to tell everybody leaving us on YouTube that Trek Files is up, back with the amazing Jean Laura this week, who was that wave of early 70s fan writers from Star Trek inspired by Spock, and in her case, Sarek and Amanda. She wound up writing several pro books for Pocket. She's still in academia, and she was our guest this week talking about Spock and the 76 Columbia Inside Star Trek album, and some notes from Jean about what to talk about with Spock and her reaction to that, because guess what? They changed by the time the record was done. But that's typical for us on Trek Files. Get it over at Facebook. The only podcast that gives you paper. Our files of the week are also posted there. So check that out, and please like and subscribe over on the thing, or collect it wherever you collect your podcasts. And hey, back again this week, Life Support Live with Dr. Ali and Dr. Trek. One of us is a real doctor. Going boldly through uncertain times. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 UK time, 7 the other thing, Central European time. I'd love for you to join us there. Wherever you're watching me right now, that's a channel you can catch Life Support Live on. Also, a little update here on Michael Braveheart's GoFundMe. Michael Braveheart was Ensign Martinez. He's upped his GoFundMe. It was at $3,000. He was a little over halfway through. He's upped it to $5,000 because he's needed some more physical therapy in the last week after he had his heart issue about 2 months ago. After he started this, but he's doing better. And he's really, almost all of his donors are from the Trek community. He gave acting lessons until the time of COVID, and he had these issues crop up. But we email back and forth about every couple of weeks. We're hoping to get him back out where he can get out to cons eventually and get around the circuit more. So he's anxious to do that. Anyway, it's a GoFundMe, Friends of Michael Braveheart. If you're not on with me anywhere, follow that along. You never know when I'm going to do a drawing or when I'll take a poll, but I appreciate everybody all across Trekland. Our Twitter is at Larry Nemecek, the same as YouTube. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. And Larry Nemecek's Trekland is my Instagram account, same as the Facebook. And, of course, portal47.net. If you want to jump in with us, a lot of the portales are on today. We take you where no savvy fan has gone before, as we say, every month, a package every month. So if you are leaving us, just to say, stay healthy out there, do all the things, stay woke, check your sources when you read stuff online or anywhere, really. Most of all, everybody, Trek well.